Turning this clearance David's Bridal prom dress into a full-on Nesta ball gown from Akatar for a fantasy ball. So the first thing is changing the neckline. Yes, this dress isn't made out of velvet, but I really wanted to do that deep V that's in the book. So I took a V bra insert and took ribbon to make a casing for it and sewed it and then just pinned it onto where I wanted the new neckline to be. Next, I cut just straight down the middle to the base of where that V was, and then I just stitched around and created a new kind of wire frame for the bust line in that V shape, if that makes any sense. And of course I had to try it on with the tiara because I have a problem. I also added 12 gauge wire coming up to the very top point of the bodice from that V bra insert. Next, it was time to get rid of that belt because it was hideous. I hate it when belts just cut off the torso, at least on me anyways. Next was cutting away the tulle outer skirt layer so that way the sparkle would show more underneath. So I just cut that away and chucked it off to the side because I don't need that. I might repurpose the lace, I'm not sure, but for right now, don't need it. Then I used organza and wire to make a new neckline. I also cut all the lace off of the bodice to make it more sheer. And then I added ribbon around the wire so that way when I do stitch on the organza, it wouldn't show. And then that tiny little chain as like a halter top. If you know in the book, you know about the straps. Then I switched out the zipper for a corset back that you can just purchase online. And then it was time for the beaded fabric that I just hand sewed on with a little dart down the bust that you can't really see. Now here was the true dilemma. I wanted as much sparkle as possible, but you can see such a beautiful pattern in the beaded fabric of this skirt. So I ended up cutting that lace or the sequin fabric off anyway. So I took 2 layers out of the skirt because look at how gorgeous this pattern is and I really wanted it to be seen. So I cut that off. This was the hardest part. So I hand gathered the entire waistline, which I do with my ball gowns anyways. And then I hand sewed the entire skirt onto the waistline of the bodice. And I just made sure it was as clean as possible and as seamless as possible. And I lined the seam up the back of the dress with the pattern so that way you literally cannot see the seam at all. And then here's it on. This is probably the heaviest dress I've ever worn. I'm so happy I added all the extra wire and kind of corsetry tricks that I have in my book in the bodice because otherwise there's no way this dress would be able to hold up on my body. It is so heavy. Next it was time for the slit and I kind of just eyeballed it in the pattern of the skirt that made sense and then cut through all the other layers of the skirt and finished the edges nicely. And then lastly, it was just sewing trim to the edge. So I kept a decently long train and then I just hand did the lace there for the hem and then all the way around the back. And here's the back train bit because I really did just want that. Oh my god, I can't get over the pattern of that fabric. It's so pretty. And some of you know I was struggling with this because I hand make the majority of all of my costumes like from scratch, but it was really nice upcycling something for a change and taking something that maybe would have been bought, maybe not, and turning it into something completely new and different and kind of using things I already have. And it's just much more sustainable. Going from that to that is crazy to me.